Welcome back to the channel, you guys. It's Daryl here. Hope you guys are having a great day today. In the studio, we've got a bona fide archtop jazz guitar, something I've never featured on the channel to date. This beauty is the D'Angelico Excel Throwback. Yes, so today we're getting our jazz on. We're going to look at the Excel Throwback in great detail. We'll talk about the specs, what the guitar is made of, what it sounds like, and of course give you guys a bunch of tones, jazz tones, but also we're going to see how it handles blues, maybe even some rock. We want to see, how versatile a guitar like this can be. So let's jump in and start the review. Now, musicians have played jazz on pretty much every model around, from Strats and Tellys to 335s and everything in between, but the gold standard has always been the archtop hollow body, and that's what we have here. So this is a true hollow body guitar. There's no center block running along here. There's no bracing under the bridge. It's completely hollow. And of course, the bridge is suspended on that beautiful arch top. Looks absolutely fantastic. Now, in terms of the woods, we've got flame maple on the sides, flame maple on the back. Really beautiful. And of course, I'm hoping the camera will pick it up, but the arch on the back is just as beautiful as on the front. Really, really nice. Now, on the front itself, this is a spruce top. So the same kind of thing that you would find on an acoustic guitar. So, when you just go to play, of course, it's completely hollow, and we've got the spruce top. It's a nice, lively experience when you're not even plugged in. Now, of course, I just got my lapel mic here behind the guitar, so, it's not really going to pick it up. But if you just want to, sit down and play some chords, it's, really rewarding, and it sounds great. You don't have to plug in to really enjoy this guitar. Now, as for some of the other main specs, you may notice the headstock is a little different. Normally on a D'Angelico, you get the scoops with the little brass button in the middle. This one is a solid headstock. I think it looks absolutely fantastic. Now, you still get the Empire State Building truss rod cover. That's definitely a D'Angelico thing. On the backside, we've got Grover tuners with these imperial buttons, and you may notice it's blacked out with a black stripe that kind of goes through the neck. So we've got two pieces of maple with that walnut stripe, okay? And the neck itself, like I said, is maple. On the fingerboard, it's ebony, and you get full width blocks on the neck. Looks really, really cool. So those blocks, I'll try to take some close-up pictures or whatever, but yeah, those blocks look absolutely fantastic all the way up and down the neck. Now, as you might expect on a dedicated jazz guitar, the pickups and electronics are very, very simple. So in the neck here, we've got a great jazz pickup. This is a Seymour Duncan custom shop mini humbucker, okay? A dedicated jazz pickup. And then we've got two simple controls mounted to the pickguard. I think it looks really nice, keeps the body of the guitar really clean. So we've got a volume and a tone. And other than that, of course, we've got the D'Angelico stair-step tailpiece with the ebony floating bridge. All right, so let's move on from the basic features to the overall construction. Now, starting up on the headstock, all the binding and the purfling where it turns corners and meets looks really, really nice. And of course, the tuning machines are classic Grovers. They're going to hold tune really well. So nothing crazy about the headstock. I think it looks really nice. It's got an ebony veneer that matches the ebony pickguard. Now, clearly this is a different species or grade of ebony than the fingerboard, because the fingerboard is jet black and looks beautiful. And then the ebony on the pickguard and the headstock has some really nice grain in it. So looks really sharp. Now, the nut is a bone nut, which is, what you would expect on a jazz guitar like this. We want it to hold tune, and the bone nut, very, very important. Where it meets the side of the neck here, very, very smooth. Your finger doesn't get caught on there at all. So it was shaped very nice. And in terms of tuning stability and stuff, it's been fantastic. Now, granted, you're not going to be playing, tone and a half bends on a jazz guitar. This guitar comes equipped with 12s. So it plays very, very nice. The intonation is really good. When you have heavier strings and you're doing complex chords, you don't want any of your strings bending. If you played this chord, on 9s, some of the notes might be, bent. If you just play this chord on 12s, everything is where it should be, and you can, use some force without, accidentally bending strings up and down. So it comes, strung up to play jazz. And like I was saying, the bone nut has been holding tune really well. Now, moving down the neck, we've got beautiful fretwork. Everything is shined up, really, really nice. No grittiness on the frets if you want to do like some vibratos and slides. Really smooth and bright. The ends themselves, there's no tooling marks in them. They're buffed, they're shined, and they're smooth. Now, of course, I've already highlighted the inlays, but I've got to say there's not one that doesn't shine out beautifully. On some guitars I've seen, it's like, wow, that 7th fret inlay is just killer. It looks amazing. And then some of the other ones might, be a little dull. These ones, I don't know if the camera will show, but all of them are just iridescent and look absolutely gorgeous. So the headstock, the nut, and the fretwork, very, very nice. Now moving on to the body, we've kind of got 3 layers of purfling with that binding. Everything looks really, really nice. And like I mentioned before, wherever there's kind of like a corner, whether it's a 45 or a 90, looks really good. And of course, that flame maple is just gorgeous. Really love that. In terms of the F-holes, everything looks really good. They're bound, and there's no kind of like wood shavings that sometimes kind of like, sometimes they don't get cleaned up at the factory if they don't have the time to do that. Here, there's nothing, out of place on those F-holes. Everything looks clean and nice. And I'll try to take a shot of it, but the way the ebony bridge sits on the arch top is perfect. They've sanded it to perfection, so there's no gaps, which is what you want. You want full contact of that bridge so that the vibrations of the strings go into the top. So yeah, overall construction, really, really nice. So that's my rundown of the features and specs on the Excel Throwback. If you guys want all the detailed specs, I will link to this guitar in the video description below. All right, so now for the fun stuff. We're gonna plug it in and see what it sounds like. So we're gonna test out this mini humbucker. I'm gonna start by playing a few clean tones for you guys. Of course, we'll do some jazz chords, but I'm gonna play some regular chords as well, maybe some single note lines, and just see what we can do. Then I'm gonna add some overdrive. Now, if my amp was in the room here, it would probably feed back instantly. This top is so resonant that, if you're gonna play with some, overdrive or really loud volumes, that's the nature of a hollow body guitar. So my cab is actually in an ISO room, so I don't have to worry about that, but I thought I'd mention it. If your amp is in your room and you like to crank up the volume, be prepared for feedback. Now, of course, that's not what this guitar is designed for. It's for killer, clean, and jazz tones. So of course we'll test that, but let's jump in, see what it's like. So here are my final thoughts on the D'Angelico Excel Throwback. Well, because I'm not a jazz player, I wasn't sure how I would get on with this guitar. But the more I played it, the more I absolutely loved it. Something about the tone, I think, all the sound coming out of these F-holes just doesn't sound like an acoustic. It just sounds so unique. I really love it. And of course, those clean tones were to die for. It sounds absolutely fantastic. Now, I really thought it could cover like low gain blues and even some rock, not too bad, as long as you didn't have a giant amp right behind you, blasting the guitar. If your amp was in front of you or to the side, I think you would be fine. But of course, it's a jazz guitar. But I think it actually sounded, this pickup sounded great playing other styles as well. Now, in terms of playability, really, really nice. Like I said, the fretwork, everything, very, very comfortable to play. I think it looks fantastic. This guitar is made in Korea. So, normally, an archtop jazz guitar from, luthier can cost anywhere from $5,000 to $25,000. Because this is made in Korea, it's not in that zone. Now, it is expensive. It is a professional jazz instrument. So, a person could play their whole life on this, countless jazz gigs, and, it would be absolutely fantastic. But because it's made in Korea, there is some savings there. Now, as I've mentioned in other videos, Korea is putting out some of the nicest guitars around right now. So, in terms of that, no concerns in terms of construction and in terms of tone. I think it's great. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to subscribe to the channel. I'll put all my information on the screen right now, if possible. Other than that, have yourself a great week. Take care.